Alright, this is lesson 17. We're doing rounding and estimating. Okay, round means we're going to find a close number that ends with one or more zeros. Okay, so if I said round, if I said round the number 41, okay, we're going to find a close number that ends with some zeros. So something close to 41 that ends in 0. Estimate, it means to find an approximate or a close number. Okay, so let's go with some examples. Okay, so objective number 1 is to round numbers to a given place value. So our example we have is to round 1,481,362 to the nearest 100,000. Okay? Now, first, though, we got to know some steps. Steps to rounding decimals. Step 1 is to underline the number with the place value you want to round to. Okay? Well, I'm going to use the place value chart to help us out here when I fill in the number. So it's 100 or 1 million, so 1 in the millions, 481,362. Okay, 1,481,362. Now, underline the number with the place value you want to round to. So it says the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to go to my 100,000s column and underline that number 4. Okay, that's the number I want to round to is 100,000. Alright, step 2 says to circle the number to the right of the one you're rounding to. So I'm going to go to the right and circle this number. Okay, the 8, that's the one to the right of the 100,000 spot. Okay, next. These two steps kind of go together. Okay, if the circled number is 5 or bigger, you round the underlined number up 1. Okay, if the circled number is 4 or smaller, then you keep the underlined number the same. Well, the circled number is 5 or bigger, so that means we're going to round the 4 right here up. It's going to go up to 5. Well, the million spot stays the same. Whoops, sorry. Let's erase that and get back to my blue that I had before. Okay, my million spot is going to stay the same. My 4 is going to round to a 5. And then I guess I should put in a 5th step here. You fill in zeros to the right. Here, actually, let's erase that. Mr. Ayers needs to not be so sloppy of a writer for you. Okay, so we'll go fill in zeros to the right. Okay, so by filling zeros to the right, I mean all these other places over here that I had before, to the right of my number I underlined, I'm going to fill in with zeros. Let's erase that. Okay, so all these are going to go to zeros now. Okay, then we can't leave this like this, we got to put commas where they go. So, comma, comma, it's 1,500,000 when you round it to the nearest 100,000. Okay, let's go on to another example. Okay, for example 2, we're taking 3 and 1,400,000. Okay, for example 2, we're taking 3.14159 and rounding it to 2 decimal places. So let's rewrite our number here. Again, the first thing we need to do is underline the place value we're rounding to. Well, it says 2 decimal places. That means 2 places after the decimal. So I'm rounding to this spot right here. Okay? Then, we're supposed to circle the spot to the right of that. I'm going to circle my 1, because my 1 tells me how to round. Alright? Well, I'm going to leave everything in front of my spot, everything to the left of my underlined number the same. Okay, so everything to the left of that other underlined number stays the same. Now the 1 tells me how to round the 4, if I keep it the same or if I round it up to 5. 1 is below 5, so that tells me to keep the 4 the same. Okay? Now normally I said that we need to fill in zeros to the right, but since it only tells us to go to 2 decimal places, there's our 2 decimal places right there. So we're done. 3.14. Okay? By the way, anybody know what those are the first few numbers to? 3.14159? Those are the first few numbers to pi, if you guys know what pi is. Okay? Alright, let's go to another example. Okay, so now we're rounding fraction in part A to a whole number. In part B, we're rounding a decimal to a whole number. Okay? So steps to rounding fractions here, because first we know how to do that. Oh, first I guess we should talk about what whole number means. The nearest whole number, okay, that means to the ones place. So we're rounding to the ones place for these. That's what they mean by nearest whole number. Okay? Now, steps to rounding fractions, because we got to know these to do part A. If the fraction is half or bigger, you're going to round the whole number up. And if the fraction is smaller than a half, you're going to keep the whole number the same. So let's rewrite our number here. Whoops, get a pen. 13 5/12. Again, we underline the spot we want to round to whole number, means this right here, the 1 spot. And then we're going to circle the stuff to the right of that. And that's going to tell us how to round. Okay, so our 1 here is going to stay the same. Then the 5/12 is going to tell us what to do with the 3. If it's going to tell us to keep it the same, or if it's going to tell us to round up. Well, it says that the fraction is half or bigger, you round the whole number up. So I got to think, how many 12ths would be equal to half? That would be 6 12ths. Well, since 5 12ths is less than 6 12ths, then we're going to keep this 3 the same. Okay, and it's just going to be 13. Again, normally you fill in zeros to the right, but not when we're talking about just rounding the nearest whole number. 13 is the nearest whole number there. Okay, and let's do B. We'll start this down here. 13.512. Again, we underline the spot we want to go to. The whole number is the ones placed there. And then after that, we are going to circle the number to the right of it. And that's going to tell us what to do with our 3. So, again, we're going to keep the 1 the same. The 5 tells us to round the 3 up to 4. And since all we need is the nearest whole number, 14 is a whole number, we can just leave it. Okay, 14. Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, so Ivan wants to tile the floor of a kitchen that is 12 feet long and 8 feet wide. The installed tile is $7.89 per square foot. Ivan calculates the cost to tile the floor is $315.60, and we want to know, is this calculation reasonable? Since they're asking us if it's reasonable or not, we don't need to know the exact answer. We just need to know if he's even close. Okay, so we can do some rounding. Well, if it's $7.89 per square foot, that means we need to find the area. Okay, again, square feet always means area. So I've got to find the area of this rectangle right here. So remember, the area equals length times the width. So the area equals 12 times 8. And 12 times 8 is 96 square feet. Okay? So he's buying 96 square feet. Alright? Now remember, his 96 square feet is $7.89 per square foot. So, to find out how much money he spends, we need to take 96 times the amount he's spending on each square foot. Now, because we just need to know if his guess is reasonable, or that his calculation that he got is reasonable, we don't need to know the exact answer. So let's round these to make it easier. Okay, 96 could round to 100 to make this easy, and $7.89 can round to 8. Okay, so that means he's going to spend about $800. Okay, he's supposed to spend about $800 on this floor. So is his answer reasonable? Well, he said $315.60, so the answer is no, it's not reasonable. And the reason is because 800 is not even close to 300. Okay, they're not in the same ballpark as far as numbers go. Okay, let's go on to the last example. Okay, last example. Richard is paid $11.85 per hour. How much money does he earn in a year, 52 weeks, if he works 40 hours per week? Okay, so let's think about what we know here. We know he's paid $11.85 an hour, and we know that he works 40 hours each week, and we know that he's working 52 weeks. So if we take how much he's paid times his hours each week times how many weeks he works, then that should give us how much money he's going to earn for that year. Okay? Now for a problem like this, it says about. Okay, this is the key word, about. That means we can round. Okay, so let's stop and think about this here. Well, $1.85, that's pretty close to $12. Okay? Number of hours he works, 40. Well, that's already a nice round number. 40. Times 52 weeks, it's pretty close to 50 weeks. Okay? So we can take these three numbers and multiply them together. Now, remember those properties of multiplication? We can multiply numbers in any order we want, so I'm going to multiply these two together first because they're easy. 40 times 50, that's 2,000. And then 12 times 2,000 is 24,000. Okay? Now, to answer this question, we can't say he's making $24,000. We need to make sure that we say he's making about $24,000. Because it asked us about. That's not his exact amount, but it's close to what he's going to make each year. About $24,000. Alright, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, good luck on your homework.